Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of the Debaters Podcast with me, Jason Campbell. And we're getting into the mix real soon. So, there's quite a few things going on in the world right now, especially in Jamaica. And one of the things that really hitting home in recent weeks is the government introducing or trying to introduce this new thing called the NDIS, National Identification System. And it's had a lot of Jamaicans questioning whether this is necessary or not. It has had a lot of Jamaicans questioning whether this is a good thing. Because, we as Jamaicans, we like our privacy, and just a thought of our identification being there at a fingertip where anybody can just access it. It's a really frightening thing. So a lot of Jamaicans, they are kind of wondering, yes, we want a first world identification system where if anything happens, they can quickly identify you, who you are, or if so probably a crime take place. Fingerprints and those things left by the perpetrator, they can quickly go into the identification system and drag it up and say, okay, this is a person who committed this crime. But the way that it is being done, a lot of Jamaicans are really skeptic about it. Because I think personally, for me, the skepticism that I would have is that how is my identity when it's there uploaded to a cloud? How is it going to be protected 100%? Because in America and in other countries, we frequently hear about identification theft and all those kind of things. And these things stem from the same identification system that the government has. Let's say, for example, in the United States, the social security number. Other persons who are up to no good, they just hack into the government system, steal this person's identity, and they do all sort of things. Some of them take out credit cards. Some of them actually hack into these persons' bank accounts and those things that they actually steal the identity for. So a whole lot of Jamaicans are really skeptic, and I think that it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing. One is a good thing that the government wants to bring along this project that says each and every Jamaican citizen must be properly identified, because a lot of persons, even up into their 60s now, still don't have a national ID, and that is really troubling. So I think it's a good thing, but I think that Jamaicans on a whole, we would like some more clarity as to how is our identification going to be protected? How are we going to manage cybercrime? Because even in Jamaica now, cybercrime is starting to go on the up. Back in the days, it was an American thing and a Chinese thing and a Russian thing, but now it's more centralized, and a lot of persons in Jamaica, won't say a lot of persons, some persons in Jamaica are using their skills technologically wise to do the wrong thing. So how exactly is this going to be protected? And what if I wake up tomorrow morning and my identity is white, clear? Because persons can do that also. Some persons can erase their identity. You call them ghosts. Real thing, not ghosts as in dopey as we Jamaicans know, but a ghost is somebody who has no particular identity, and you cannot find anything about them in government records or anything like that. I mean, it's something that is good, but Jamaicans, we have common sense. So we always think about the things that can happen to a system like this before it is actually implemented. So I think I think what we would be saying to the government now is that yes, this is a good thing. One, it's it's gonna help us tremendously because if you think about you actually rushing into the hospital, you have to actually wait for someone to find a docket, somebody to dig up some files and try to establish who you are exactly. And I think that anything that can mitigate this time is a big plus. So yes, I think so that the, it's a good thing to be implemented, but let's look at it further. Let's examine the risk. And I think actually what the government should do, just like how they have town hall meetings when election time comes around, and the persons in the community come out at the town square and give their various opinions on certain legislations that the government would say they're going to put forward, and the government would actually flush out their mandate to the people. I think that the government should actually go around, have a town hall meeting or something like that with the communities, because it is something that I think a whole lot of persons are passionate about right now, because it's raging the debate on social media and other news outlets. The debate is raging. And this thing is not something that is 10 years down the line like Vision 2030. It's actually something that is here now, because from the last thing I read is that this is supposed to be rolling out for September 2018, and it should come full stream by 2019. Now, I think that something of this great magnitude, which is gaining real momentum to be implemented, I think that the citizens should have a beer in hand in how this thing is actually implemented, and the steps that are taken in terms of security wise to actually say, hey, your identity will be protected this way. We have put in these countermeasures to make sure that even if your identity is stolen, no one can use it. You know, things like that where give us as citizens the reassurance that yes, our things are going to be secure, and when we actually give the government our identification, 2 years down the line we're not gonna have police come and we had come lock we up because our fingerprints have been found at a murder scene or a crime scene or something like that. Yeah, so I think the government should have have a talk with the people. Listen them, because Jamaicans are not fool, you know. Listen what what the people have to say. Have a real discussion and try to come to some consensus on this, because it's really something that is hot out there right now, and Jamaican people want answers. We want clarification. So once clarification and the answers that we have come forth, and we see things actually implemented in the right way, I think that we as Jamaicans will move on to it, because it's something really good. A national identification system, everybody in the country should have some form of identification. Yes. Because many times even old people get lost on the road and they have no form of ID. Children get lost. They have no form of identification. And unfortunately, sometimes people die and they have no form of identification. Who is this person? Who can I contact regarding this? Some people go to hospital. No identification. Who can I contact regarding this person? Yes, so I think it's a good thing once it is implemented and it is fully transparent to the people. I don't think we'll have a problem with it once it comes fully to us and we understand exactly what we are doing. So, yes. So, we'll just take a short break and then we'll be right back with more of the Debaters podcast. In the next session, we will be discussing some sports and hot topics. Okay? So, just in case you missed it, this week number 11 of the Premier League, it was a big week. A lot of big games in this week because things are really hotting up right now because it seems like Manchester City is pulling away with the title, and those who are below Manchester City are battling out for the rest of the places. And in the derby today, the London derby actually, we had where we saw Tottenham and Arsenal going up. And we know we have a whole lot of Arsenal fans in Jamaica. I'm not sure that we have so many Tottenham fans, but Tottenham were handed a real blow today in the London derby because Shakran Mustafi and Alexis Sanchez goals from them really took this game away from Spurs, and Mesut Ozil, he had a he had a wicked of a game that some persons think that he's basically auditioning for Manchester United because it seems like there's where he's headed, probably in the summer or as early as January. And I mean, the game, it went on. Shots on targets, 14 for both sides. No, not shots on targets, 14 shots for both sides. And in terms of shots on target, there was 5 for Arsenal and 4 for Spurs. And the possession wise, it was Spurs with the most possession, to be honest with you. Spurs had 58% of the possession and Arsenal 42%. But you know, in football, the only stat that matters is the stat that says goals. So again, we had Liverpool coming out 3-0 victors over Southampton. We had another big game of the day. Manchester City coming out 2-0 winners over Leicester City also. Chelsea going to the Hawthorns, which is normally a hard place a person's go to actually go and get a full victory. They ran out 4-0 over West Brom. And Bournemouth, I think this was a surprise. I don't think I've ever seen Bournemouth score so many goals. Bournemouth run out 4-0 over Huddersfield. And it was Burnley and Swansea. Burnley came out 2-0 victors over Swansea. Swansea, I don't know. I think they're going down. I think Swansea and Everton are going down because something is just wrong right there. So because Everton spent over $100 million this season, and really, what have they to show for it? And for the match, which that was the last match of the day, the 12:30 match, Manchester United a thumping 4-1 victory over Newcastle United. It started Newcastle United on the front foot at Old Trafford, which we don't normally see a lot of teams coming out. Normally when teams come to Old Trafford, they sit back and try to hit United on the counter, but Newcastle, they actually started out on the front foot, started the more positive of the teams. And of course, you know, you had the likes of Zlatan, Pogba, and Rojo coming back for United, which actually gave them a big boost. So a whole lot of fans were looking forward to this. And to see United peg back in the opening 20 minutes of the contest, it was somewhat of a shock because we actually expected the United to start better, but coming down goals at the equalizer actually coming from Anthony Martial, a beautiful chipped ball from Paul Pogba for the assist, and uh, it was a game to behold as United looked like the United of old, romping back like the days of Alex Ferguson, coming back to run out 4-1 victors over Newcastle. So that is the Premier League roundup for this week. Join us next week when we'll have more matches in store for you. Welcome back to the Debaters Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. And some hot topics this week, according to the local press, is that the court squashes a conviction of a cop serving 15-year sentence. I really hope that it is for the better and not for the worse. And a memorandum of understanding has been signed to eliminate child labor in Jamaica, which is an awesome thing because child labor is just ugly. It is an ugly sight. And the global climate talks in Germany and with progress, that is good because it is good to have these big countries actually recognizing that climate change is important. And it is more important for us as small countries to lobby these big countries to actually take a deep and in-depth look at climate change, because climate change will ultimately affect us more than it will them. And the Zimbabweans, they gather in thousands near Mugabe's official residence, urging his departure. Now, Robert Mugabe has been Zimbabwe president for longer than I have been born. So they want him out. They know the reasons they want him out. The reasons have been publicly established. They have been posted. They have been talked about. They have been discussed. So I don't think I need to get into that. So those are the hot topics for this week. Thank you so much for listening. Hi guys, welcome back to the Debaters Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for giving us your support. We're now up to the final segment of the show, which we call our Inspiration Corner. And as Jamaicans, you know, Jamaica is a Christian country. I am a Christian. So my inspiration pulls from the Almighty God. And we'll just read a scripture from Jeremiah 29 verse 11 that says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." And that is our motivational Bible verse for today. And in Jamaica, in times now, we really need that motivation. We need that reassurance that there is hope for us. We need that reassurance that there is a future for us, and the reassurance that there is a God who cares for us and loves us dearly. Because many times things in life can take a turn which seems so impossible, and things can look so really burdened down, and it looks like you're not going anywhere. But we are glad to know that we do indeed have a Father who loves us and who fills us with his love and who cares about us dearly. I mean, in many times, even in my life, there have been times in which I see struggles taking place in my house. Troubles which sometimes, if I'm not careful and stand up as the man of the house, it will overcome me. And if it overcomes me, it will overcome my family. And that is something that we never ever want, the troubles of life to overcome us, because God promised us that when we go through the flood, when we go through the rivers, it shall not overcome us. So we should not at any time allow any burden to overcome us. Because as the songwriter says, have we trials and temptation, take them to the Lord in prayer. I mean, many times we're burdened down, we're heavy laden. All because we do not take things to God in prayer. And he's a mighty God. I've proved him for myself. I'm not telling you what somebody has told me. I have proved him for myself that he's an awesome God. And whatever he says, he will do. Believe it that he will do it for you. And it matters not when it comes to God, it matters not how clean or how dirty you think you are. Once you come before God, God sees you as an equal. He sees you as his child. He does not see me because I am a Christian more than how he sees you because you're a sinner. God looks at all of us through the same eye, and that eye is love. Now, God may open more things to me because I am endeavoring to do his work than he would for someone who is not a Christian. But that does not mean that it is not there waiting for you. Because the minute you turn your life around, if you're a sinner, and commit to God and say, I am going to become a Christian, things in your life are going to change. There are going to be more trials because the more successful you are, the more troubles come. So the more better off your life is going to turn around to, that's the more the devil tries to fight you out. So my friends, as I go today, I encourage you, be strong, be courageous, be very brave, never be afraid, because the Lord your God is with you always. Hang on to hope, hang on to the joy that God gives, and hang on to the love which he has for you. I won't say goodbye, but I'll say see you later. Thank you so much for tuning into the Debaters Podcast. I hope to have you again next time. Cheers.